more. I am Amelia, living in the Netherlands, and I'd like to talk to you about knitting. I live in the Netherlands. I am originally from Australia, but I moved to the Netherlands about 4 years ago, and then realised it's really cold. I don't own any good sweaters. Let's take up knitting. Technically I did knit as a child as well. I don't remember ever really finishing anything except for like Barbie clothes, like a Barbie skirt that I knit on toothpicks with some cotton thread, something like this, when I was really young. But otherwise, yeah, I really got into knitting about 4 years ago when I moved here, and haven't stopped. And as you might be able to tell from the channel name, I am mildly obsessive in general on certain things, but quite especially with knitting these days. I knit a lot, and I knit often, as in I finish projects a lot, I guess, because I've almost constantly got knitting in my hands. I find it a good fidget toy, so to speak, but you actually make something at the end of it, which is super nice as well. Anyway, so yeah, I'm here to talk to you about what I've been knitting recently. I thought I'd just stick with like the normal format, at least to start with, see how things go, and then yeah, maybe go my own way a little bit, if this turns out okay. So, first off, what am I wearing? This is the Rockhound Pullover by Wool and Pine, and actually I realised as I was preparing for this, I have a lot of Wool and Pine in the whips section at the very least. That happened all of a sudden because this was the very first piece that I knit, and this was an impulse purchase pattern which I have never done before. In general, not much of an impulse purchase person, I think, but I was scrolling on Blue Sky. I saw the pattern photos for this. I think it might have been release day even. Having never, I think, followed Wool and Pine previously, I saw this sweater and I had to have it. It was such a gorgeous like promo pictures as well. I think it was beautiful, like orange colour, which I don't really wear, but the pattern, I'll see if I can insert pictures. I think I'm allowed to do that. We shall see. Anyway, no regrets. Not a single regret. Absolutely loved knitting it. Absolutely loved wearing it. I, as soon as it got cold, have been just wearing this pretty much non-stop. I have switched it in and out for a couple of other sweaters that I knit this year. But I think this is my favourite. In terms of, it's my favourite combination of wool and pattern and fit and just everything. Anyway, so I have a couple of details. The yarn itself is a yarn that I'd never used before, but I wanted to try out because I was on a site buying discounted yarn, and this was also on special. So it is Svarte Fore. This is the brand. It's a Danish brand, I think. Swedish brand, sorry. Ulrika Natur, or however you meant to say it. I think it translates though the company name to the Black Sheep, which I didn't realize until I was trying to test how to pronounce the name. But that's pretty cool. I love the yarn. It is more on the rustic side, and it does itch just a little bit, but I'm not, as someone who has crazy sensitive, annoying skin that I can't put anything on, I really don't mind this. I don't mind the itchiness. It's lovely. Yes, so I'll say some things about this sweater, but they'll pretty much account for all sweaters that I make. I have knit this off gauge. I never managed to get gauge. I never really managed to buy the right yarn for sweaters, and I just go with the yarn either that I have or that I want to knit with, and make it work from there. So off gauge, I knit the third size of this sweater to try and get, we don't have what size I was trying to get to, but so I knit for a 96 centimeter upper bust measurement to get they say full bust measurement, but I'll get into later why I do the upper bust. Anyway, knit for the 96 centimeter upper bust to get the 105 centimeter upper bust based on my gauge. So that went fine. I did do a few adjustments for it. I did increase. I had joined originally and noticed that the depth of the armhole was a bit shallow. I actually forgot about this until I checked my Ravelry notes in preparation, so it wasn't too much of a hardship to fix, I guess, because I don't even remember doing it. So I pulled it back to before joining the arms and did a few more increases, and I also did some bust shaping for the sweater because, yeah, most sweaters are designed for a B-cup, from what I understand. I ain't a B-cup, and I don't want to go like an oversized sweater to fit my bust, and then it's just baggy on me everywhere. So these days, probably in the last 2 years, I'd say, I do aim for a more fitted sweater, or at least just not like an oversized sweater. So what I tend to do is look for a size that matches, my upper bust up here, and then I adjust the sweater downwards to fit the rest of my body. Because otherwise I find, if I knit for this size up here, it's like ends up so big up here and like baggy up here, and it just, for me, for what I want, it doesn't look like the way that I want to do it. So in pretty much all of my sweaters, that'll be the case. Not all, because some it's a bit harder to adjust, but that's usually my plan. So yeah, I did some bust shaping, and you see it. You can see just a little bit of a line here, I think it is. Also some fluff, because I wear this all the time, and I should have depilled it before I recorded, but I didn't. So I did some increases along here, some bust shaping, which is just short rows. So did basically, like knit here to here, and then in a slightly shorter distance, knit across again, and shorter again, knit across again. And I just created a little bit extra fabric to fit my bust a bit better. I think that's pretty much. Oh yeah, and I did a little bit more increasing as well. I don't think I can show you in this picture. Here, okay. Yeah. So I did some increases on the side, just so that it would fit a little bit better around here. So I did increases on the side, and at the same time did some increases on the back, on either side of the back panel pattern. Yeah, can't tell if you can see. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Yeah, we'll see. So I love it. It was originally just a little bit more fitted when I first finished it, which was, I think maybe July or something. I have lost just a little bit of weight since then, and so it's a bit looser than it was intended to, but I love it still as it is, and I think it actually, it fits really nicely. I wear it to work, I wear it around home, just everywhere. I love it. Love it to bits. Would super recommend, and would 100% knit again. I'm tempted to knit it again in the same yarn, but a different colour. Maybe that's a bit boring, or maybe I'll knit it for someone else. I haven't knit a sweater for anyone else before. That scares me a bit. So the sweater done. We've got a little bit of a sneak peek of my amazing setup here. I'm in the attic. It's not super professional. It is temporary. We do have a craft room downstairs that's in the making, as in there's a lot of renovations to be done. It's a tiny room. It's just a little, I think like a baby's room would be maybe what it's intended for, but we're going to make that into a craft room. Anyway, for now, we have the glory that is the Zolder, or the attic. However, we have more finished projects. And here I have my most recently finished project, which is backwards. I can only tell because I didn't catch the extra floats. I just made these floats at the top here a little different looking so that I can look in the sweater and be like, oh, that's the back. The best way I could find to make it not super noticeable. There's probably a better way, but that's what I've done. Anyway, ta-da! This is the Festive Yoke Pullover, and I'm sure you've seen it a billion times. It's not a new pattern by any means. I don't know how old it is. Quite old, I think. It's by Skeindeer Knits, and I think the first time I saw this was watching the Happy Knitting podcast a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to knit it. Never knit colourwork before. Actually, that's not true. I started a advent calendar mitten colourwork thing. So like 26 little mittens in colourwork. I think I've done 6 of them, maybe. I'm meant to do 26, and I started that maybe 2.5 years ago. Yeah. So anyway, that was my colourwork experience. And then I decided, hey, a whole sweater. What could possibly go wrong? And actually, it turned out okay. It is a little bubbly at the top here. But it doesn't show too much on camera. Maybe because my camera quality is so poor. But yeah. Super cute. Super comfy. I knit this in drops. Did I write it down? I did not. Drops, the thin one. That is not sock yarn. That's not Lima. The one smaller than Lima. Anyway, drops. 2-color all over. Ta-da! And off gauge, as is my way, like very off gauge. I had to adjust this a lot on the fly, and that's okay. It turned out okay. It turned out fine in terms of shaping, which is kind of odd considering how much I changed it. I think I ended up. The cast on was nowhere near what the pattern was. I think I had cast on like a number of stitches that matched a section further down and just made it work, so long as it was a multiple of 10, I think, and then it was fine. I did also do, because it's in the round and constant colour work, and I did want this fitted as well, but then how do you do fitted and like bust darts in a pattern that's continuous like this? Well, you don't. Like maybe you could, but I didn't. I couldn't figure out how. So instead what I did was, when I went to split for sleeves, I put more of the fabric at the front of my body than at the back. So you might be able to see. Okay, so you can barely see the underarms. So what you're seeing is the front of the sweater, and you can barely see like the split, if that makes sense. If I flip it round, and you can see the underarms much sooner. It's quite hard to tell. I didn't realize how hard it was to tell, which is good because it means that it's not very obvious. But yeah, so I have the numbers here. 136 of the stitches on the back and 170 stitches on the front. So 40 extra stitches on the front to give me a bit extra fabric on the front. And then I kept the arms the same. I did also do some raglan increases because I was worried about the fit and about the whole, you lift your arms and the whole sweater comes up with round yokes. And I'd heard that adding raglan increases could help with that. I didn't think about it until very late on, so I think I did only maybe 2 rounds of raglan increases, probably just made no difference whatsoever. But yeah, I think it's pretty dang cool. I love it. I wore it to an office day at work, and then out for Christmas drinks, and then on Christmas Day, and then on Tweede Kerstdag, which is like Boxing Day everywhere else probably, but second Christmas Day here in the Netherlands, where we went to visit family for Christmas. And any day in between that I could wear it, I wore it. Oh yeah, I wore it to the taal cafe. I'm learning Dutch at the moment. I will be for the rest of my life. And I go to a taal cafe, a language cafe, where we try and talk in another language. Yeah, so I've got a lot of wear out of it. It's kind of sad. It's now the 29th of December. We do still have the Christmas tree up, but I don't think I'll be wearing the sweater anymore until next year. But yeah. Love it. Okay. I don't think there's anything else I needed to say about that one. Nah. Okay. Another project that I finished recently, and again, I realized when I was preparing for this that this was, again, quite influenced by the Happy Knitting podcast. I really enjoy her podcasts, and yeah, I think this is the only two that I've knit because of the podcast, but still. This is a tube. It is a tube scarf. I didn't even close the ends. It is just literally a tube. Can you see the color? It's like a green and a I was gonna say peachy, beigey peachy. Yeah. It's Drops alpaca silk. Yeah, Drops alpaca silk. All I did was cast on enough stitches that I could comfortably knit in the round with a shorty on one end of the needles and the normal size on the other. I knit a ball, and then I switch colours, and then I knit the other ball, and then I switch colours, and so on and so forth. And it's lovely. It is lovely. I don't wear it as often as another scarf that I have recently knit, but not recently enough to include in this video. But I do love it. It's very nice. It's very comfy. It's very soft. It is a little itchier than I expected. But I haven't blocked it yet. maybe blocking will help. And maybe wearing it a little more will also help soften it down a little. But it's super nice. Lovely. Not much more to say about it. I powered through this. I think I knit it in maybe 2 weeks, which I think is pretty decent. I actually found it difficult to knit. It wasn't fun. The green was fine to knit, but the beigey, this color here, it doesn't feel. It actually does feel. The green is a little softer than the beigey, and the beigey I found the beige color. I just found a little hard on the hands. So I was like, quick, I gotta get through this section because I hate knitting it. And then I switched to the green stuff. I'm like, oh, this is so much nicer to knit. I must just, keep knitting. And then I wanted it, so I kept knitting. And I had no regrets. It was lovely. It's very good. Scarf. It's not technically all the things that I finished recently, but I think that the video will get a bit long and a bit boring. I've knit a bunch of socks, just like really plain socks, because I like wearing socks around the house that are hand knit. I've only been doing socks for a year, and I think I've counted that I've done like 10 pairs maybe, a mixture between socks for myself and socks for my boyfriend. More for myself. My feet are very small, so they knit up really fast. And also I stick with sort of plain stockinette socks because I can knit them during work meetings. I work from home most of the time. So plain knitting during meetings, which are, all the time, I get a lot of knitting done. Very good. But not worth showing, I think. Yes. Now on to whips. Works in progress. Maybe let's start with my oldest. It's a bit of a shame. And actually, caveat, not my oldest by any means. And these are not all of my whips. These are my so-called active whips. Yeah. It's not like I have an awful lot of other whips. I just have bits and pieces going that... Oh, and this isn't even actually my oldest one in this pile. Maybe I will go with the oldest. Yeah. Anyway, that's all for later. So this is a bit of a different one. I started this maybe 2 years ago. I actually don't know. Maybe longer. It's a tie for my boyfriend. No. So it's is it moss stitch? Can I remember? I can't remember if moss stitch is 2 knits, 2 purls, and then offset by 1 in the next round, or just 1 by 1 and offset by 1. This is 1 by 1 offset. So knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and on the next round, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. Anyway, it's really plain. It's just that's it. That's all it is. It's on, I think, 2mm needles. But I found that a Colourful Winkle, which is a secondhand store, or a St. Vinny's if you're in Australia. Anyway, yes. And it's a silk yarn of some kind. I can't remember where I bought it. I can't remember what it is. It's very soft. It slides off the needles a lot, which is annoying. If I drop a stitch, it's annoying to pick up. Whatever. It's been going for a while. It'd be probably long enough, or not even quite for me. But the boyfriend is quite tall. Yeah, quite tall anyway, and it needs a lot more length on it before it's even up to here, and then it needs, yeah, anyway. It's going to be another year or so, I would guess, until I'm finished that. But it lives in this little plastic container bag and sits behind the couch, and every now and again I'll pull it out and knit. But sometimes it goes 6 months before I knit on it. But I'm trying to keep it out. I am trying to keep it a more active whip than it has been in recent times, because I do want it done. I don't want to... This is the second or third time, so I think second time maybe, that I have knit this with this yarn. I didn't like the way that the first attempt came out, so it'll get there. And next up is this fellow, which I will try not to throw the yarn everywhere. This is the Larkspur by Wool and Pine. So the same one as these guys. Helps if I show you, not just looking at myself. Okay, it looks blue. It's very much green. It is a blue-green, to be fair. And the thing is, this is pretty much, like the front and back panels is done for now, as far as I can tell. Hard to tell because I'm not used to doing front and back because they're not attached at the sides. This is the back, this is the front. And I need to attach them under the arm, which I've done some adjustments, as I always do with my sweaters. So the instructions don't quite work for me anymore. I have to work things out myself, and that is why it has been sitting in a pile, not being touched. Probably for a couple of months, sadly. It's beautiful. I love it. I just need to get back to working on it. And the thing is, the sleeves, I'm fairly sure are plain stockinette. I just need to do up the sides, do the sleeves, and then do some ribbing. Or I think maybe that's the concern, that I need to do the ribbing before I do up the sides. But then if you do the ribbing, you've already committed to how long you want the thing. I don't know how long I want the thing until I do the sleeves. It's on pause, basically. And you may have noticed, this is a camel silk blend of yarn from Wool Lunatics. .nl. Yeah, cool yarn store that sells yarn off of cones, which I love. However, shook the camera. You may have seen this giant cake. So I had previously knit this into a different sweater. I can't remember which one. I can't remember the name of it, but a big cabled sweater anyway. Turned out it looked terrible on me. I made it way too big, and I ran out of yarn, so it was too short. So it was a cropped, oversized, but not in a nice way. It was sad because it's a beautiful pattern, but not for me. Just even if I'd done it correctly, I realized like it was a round yoke, a lot of cables, beautiful, but just did not suit me at all. So I pulled it back. That's another thing you may learn about me. I'm not really afraid to pull things back. This was an entire other sweater. I pulled it back, washed the yarn, and wound it back up and reknitting this. And it's not the only one that I plan to with this particular yarn as well, but I will get into that in a minute. But yeah, so beautiful. I am hoping I should jump back onto this fairly soon because, no, actually, we're only getting into the middle of winter. Technically, I have time. Maybe towards the end of winter, actually. I'll get back into this one so that it's ready for like spring because it's a finished yarn, and it won't be too warm for like the office in spring and that sort of thing. Also, technically, grew up in Australia. I don't handle cold very well, so I wear sweaters like a decent amount of time during the year. So yeah, more sweaters, more better. Larkspur. On to the next, which is another woolen pine. I swear I don't think I have any more planned for woolen pine. I've never knit so many from one designer in such a short period of time. But, you know, when you see this kind of thing, how can you not? So this is the deep winter coat. And it's not going to be ready for deep winter, sadly. I don't think. It's actually knitting up incredibly fast. I didn't expect it to knit up quite so fast. But it is drops in the pole, which is a thicker yarn, 50 meters per 100 grams. I don't think that's right. Ignore that, please. Drops in the pole, held double. So I'm knitting it on an 8mm needle and a 7mm needle. And yeah, she's heavy. I think I've gone through 2, 4, 6, 8 balls of yarn so far, and they're 50 grams each. And I'm only there. Which, to be fair, again, very short. I don't have much of a torso to knit for. And I can't get back far enough. We'll get there. I'm not sure how long I'm going to knit this yet. So we'll see. But yeah, I did order 33 balls, which does mean that if I knit all 33 balls of yarn up, it'll be 1.65 kilos, which I think might be a bit too heavy. Like, it is going to be a jacket, so, but still, I don't think I will, but we'll see. Yeah, it's, so it's this beautiful cable pattern on the front, sort of split in two, and then the back is so lovely. I love it. Okay. I have changed things just slightly. Once again, I've done my favourite bust darts here, just to give a little extra fabric. And again, I've done some side increases, and I've tucked them into, well, if I can't find them, can anyone else? No, I'm kidding, where are they? Oh, there. So, there's a little increase here. Oh yeah, you can see it there. So I've done just a couple of increases, again along the sides of the patterns. I think that helps hide them a little bit, and on either side of the front panel as well. So there's only 4 increases every round, and it's just to add a little bit so that when it wraps around the front, it's not like popping open, basically. But loving it as well. Really fun to knit. It is a little bit, I found it really hard on my hands to start with, although I think my hands have gotten used to it now. And I think it was just the size of the needle. I most often knit 3.5, 4 mil needles max. This is certainly the largest I've knit before. And it took a while for my hands to adjust. But it's going really well now. And it's going really fast. When did I start this? After I finished this fellow. Yeah, I don't know exactly. Oh, did I write it down? Did not. No, did not. I think it's been a week or two, maybe. And at this rate, yeah, maybe it will be done before deep winter. We'll see. And that's really, I have like one other sort of active work. It's not super exciting. It's a beanie with this yarn. I can't tell you the brand. It's there's a knitting festival twice a year, the Bredagen, Nederlandse Bredagen. It's a 2 or 3 day yarn festival in the Netherlands. One in April is in Breda, and the one, at least this year in October, was in Nijkerk. And so I went to the Nijkerk one, and bought not a bunch of stuff. I'm not a huge purchaser, but anyway, this was a multicolored ball of yarn. It's, you know how, well, it's showing up okay, but it's like fluoro yellow and fluoro-ish pink with some black and some duller pink and that sort of thing. And I'm knitting from inside and out, double-stranded 2x2 rib beanie, basically. And I've just started decreasing for the crown. It's a look. Maybe I should just leave it like this. What do we think? Anyway, that's that. In terms of sort of what's next, I do have, so this yarn here, fun story. I knit last year sometime, I knit the Stolkholm sweater V-neck by Petite Knit in this yarn, but not this yarn. So I bought a cone of this yarn, the Camel Silk, and knit the V-neck sweater in that. Loved it. Wore it, when did I knit that? I must have knit it over Christmas maybe last year, and I wore it through till summer. I guess it got too hot and I stopped wearing it at work, so I wore it to work a lot. I only go into the office once a week, so I mean a lot is subjective. However, I would wear it into work, and I loved it so much. It was so comfy, nice and light, but warm enough. Anyway, but it was too big. It was too big, and I hadn't at that point done any shaping. Right, so I've only been doing the shaping for like a year, for like the bust shaping and that sort of thing. Because that sweater, I think, was really the catalyst for me to change. Because I loved it, but it didn't fit well. It's basically sat out like this, not really this, but like lower down. Yeah, it sat quite a fair way away from my body, and short, too short at the front and long at the back. And so I loved it. I loved wearing it constantly, but it wasn't good enough. So, sometime towards the end of summer, or maybe the beginning of the cooler weather this year, I unraveled it. I washed the yarn, it's caked up, it's ready to knit again. And that's all I'm planning on doing, is knitting the same sweater, but smaller, and with some shaping instead, so it's more fitted. So apparently, I have my notes, I originally knit, I was always off gauge. Oh, that deep winter coat, I think it's the only thing I've ever knit, wow, no, that's probably right. Only thing I've knit that's actually on gauge. I haven't had to change anything because of my gauge. That's quite incredible. Anyway, that's besides the point. The Stockholm sweater, I originally knit the 3XL size in order to get the large size. And I do gauge swatch. I do gauge swatch. Maybe not as fully as is recommended, but I do decent gauge swatches because it's not worth knitting entire sweaters for them to be wrong. However, yeah, the gauge I've got in my Ravelry notes is 28 stitches. However, once I'd been wearing it, maybe even just after blocking, but I only checked it once I decided to pull it back, I was getting 24.5 stitches. So yeah, it was quite a bit bigger than it was meant to be. So the plan is to knit it with the same yarn, the same needles, but to reknit it at an XL size to get the small size, which sounds odd given I'm not a small. However, the pattern does allow for a lot more ease than I want. I don't want all the extra ease. I'll add it where I want it. So yeah, again, I focus on the upper bust size in here, and I'll adjust everything as I go down to make it fit me better, or the way that I want it. Better is again subjective, but that's the plan. Anyway, so I'll want to be casting that one on soon. I should really finish the Larkspur. I think I've been saying that sweater wrong. This one. I should probably finish this one first, because I know as soon as I start the Stolkholm sweater, I'll be obsessively knitting on that one, and it'll be hard to get anything else done. Although once it's knit in the round, I have a bit of a rule that I sometimes stick to, that if I've got like a stockinette project that's knit in the round, it's relegated to knitting only, especially if I've got something a bit more tough to knit. So yeah, so it should just be knitting, or, because again I'm learning Dutch, trying to learn Dutch, if I'm watching a Dutch show, yeah, that's pretty much it. If I'm watching a Dutch show, then I can knit stockinette while I watch the show, which is sometimes an incentive to get more Dutch practice in. But I don't stick to that one very well. Whoops. Anyway, yeah, I think that's about it. Hi, editing Amelia here. I realized that I didn't really do a sign-off properly, or I did, but it was very awkward. Anyway, I just wanted to say thanks so much for watching. If you made it through, you're a champ. I realized that my audio and video quality is not fantastic, but I really just wanted to start where I was instead of waiting for perfection, and otherwise I would never get started, right? So yeah, there it is. Thank you again so much for watching, and yeah, I hope to see you in another one soon. Doei!